UFC 284, resignating from Perth, Australia, coming at you live. Not live, it's finished. But what a card it was, it's just finished. And we're just here, well, not we, just me today, just here to touch on the card, run over everything, bit of the highlights that happened, review everything. And yeah, basically I watched this entire card. It was pretty good. Few good fights, few that were like, passable. But yeah, a few bangers on the main card especially. Quickly just touch on the early prelims. Our boy Shane Young lost. And I just wanted to say that because I do not like him. On the on the regular prelims, I should say, we had nothing of note. Jamie Malarkey getting a decision. Kaysen Rodriguez getting a KO. That was good. That was like a fast fight over nice and quick. Joshua Kulibao got a round 2 sub. Nothing too exciting there. And then Tyson Pedro, of course, loses because he's fucking trash. Moving on to the main card, we kicked off the night with Jimmy Crute taking on Alonzo Mainfield in light heavyweights. And Jimmy was getting fucked up because Jimmy sucks. Jimmy Crute is trash. He always has been and he always will be. Alonzo Mainfield was just landing bombs. Jimmy was getting a few good takedowns, and Mainfield would have won this, definitely, but he grabbed the fence in round 3 that sort of stopped a takedown. It did stop a takedown, but, you know, if he hadn't grabbed the fence and just accepted the loss on that round, he would have won that fight. So there's that. But yeah, Jimmy Crute fucking sucks, and I guess they're going to run that back. Does anyone really care? Not particularly. Up next, we had Justin Tafa, the Tri-Nations boy, taking on Parker Porter, the most cartoon name in the world, and he got the round 1 KO. Does anyone care? Because I sure as hell do not. Justin Tafa and Parker Porter, both of them never going to amount to anything in the UFC heavyweight division. Feed Justin Tafa to like a Derek Lewis or something. And if he can get the knockout on that one, then all credit to him, but I don't see either of them doing anything. Up next, we had Jack Della Maddalena taking on Randy Brown. This was an impressive performance. Bided his time really well, did Jack Della Maddalena. And sort of obviously known as like a KO artist, really good boxing, but got the submission about 2 minutes into the round. I thought Randy Brown looked quite decent. Was keeping it at range, and then next thing you know, he was getting submitted. And that's about it. I've seen a few people say give Jack a ranked opponent, potentially like a Neil Magny or someone. Obviously, as everyone knows, I am the biggest Neil Magny fan in the world, so I would love to see that. Hopefully, with Neil fucking him up. That'd be a really good fight. Co-main event, spend a bit more time on this one. Yair Rodriguez taking on Joshua Emmett. I think this fight pretty much went the way everyone thought it was going to, except it finished via submission and not knockout. Yair looked really fast, really clean with his striking, the body kicks especially. Emmett wobbled him a few times, maybe once or twice. But he's just too short, and he never had a way of entering close enough to land those big power shots. Thought he could have utilized his wrestling a bit more. But yeah, just fought a really perfect fight, to be honest. And yeah, like we said, got the submission, first submission of his UFC career. And he is now the interim featherweight champion. Obviously, will face Volk next, potentially. But yeah, just a really good performance from him. And let's just get on to the main event right now. Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski goes to the decisions. Personally, myself and Jackson, we both had Volkanovski winning this 3-2. Whatever judge had that 4-1, I would love to know what you're smoking, because when I feel sad, I would like a bit of that, because never in a million years is there a 4-1 in there at all. I thought Volk looked so good, so did Jackson. Just how much more impressive he looked than Islam. The stuffing of the takedowns, the grappling, the sort of transitions and stuff on the ground. There were really few positions where Islam looked dangerous. The end of the first round, he sort of had like a neck crank and was working towards a rear naked choke, but didn't really get anything. And apart from that, on the feet, it was a bit closer on the feet. I feel like people were surprised that Islam kept pace on the feet. But personally, I think Islam's quite underrated with his striking and everything. There's been a few chances, like he obviously got the knockdown of Charles, and he sort of looked really good in that. But yeah, personally, we think that Volk won that 3-2. What are they going to do next? Run it back? No, they're not going to. I would love to see this fight in the future. I think Volk takes it again. Look, what an incredible fight. I'll say that. It wasn't a robbery by any means, but yeah, personally, had Volk winning. A really good example I saw was someone saying, and we've obviously talked about this when it was a thing, but the Pyotr versus Sean O'Malley fights, if you want to give Islam the win for this, due to his control time and stuff like that, then why is Pyotr not getting his win? When very similar performances, sort of even on the feet, quite a lot of control time with no real damage being done. But yeah, I think Islam takes on the winner of Beneil versus Charles, which is announced. Volk obviously goes back down, takes on Yair. I think Yair is going to get absolutely fucked up by Volk. I think Volk will have a bit of a grudge, and not against Yair, but he'll just feel a bit peeved. Obviously, 22 fight winning streak. I think it was 22. But there's just bigger consequences to like not winning the title. Obviously now Islam's pound for pound number one. Don't agree with that at all. He's had 2 good wins, one clear cut, one very very close razor thin decision, which some/lots thought he didn't. The card on verdict said that he lost, so sort of the majority of people agreeing that Volk takes that one. But yeah, I think Volk goes back down. I don't think he comes back up to lightweight unless it's for a title fight. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But overall, just what a really great card. Sort of really shit on paper when we lost that the Whittaker fight and stuff like that. But just some great fights. Islam Volk, fight of the year in my opinion. So really can't wait for the rematch down the line. Both fighters still youngish, so at the top of their games. But yeah, that brings us to the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the website. Parker Porter. Peace.